Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be covering restaurant location lookup demo problem. I hope all of you have been able to download restaurants.xlsx file released as part of today's lecture code link. Please pause the lecture video and open that file. Observe that in this particular spreadsheet, we do not have a header row. That's because all of the rows represent data entries. Column A represents restaurant name. Columns B and C represent restaurant X and Y coordinate values. How can we convert the spreadsheet file format into a CSV file format? You need to click on File and click on Save As. From the file format drop-down, select comma separated values .csv. Do not select CSV UTF-8 format as that will lead to problems when you move the file from one operating system to another. Click on comma separated values and then click on save. I'm going to switch to my terminal window. Let me show you the output of cat command when I pass restaurants.csv as argument. Observe that we are able to take a look at the contents of restaurants.csv file. What if I pass restaurants.xlsx file as argument? That is going to show a bunch of gibberish on my screen. Let me type in clear to clear the screen. I'm going to talk about the input and output for this particular demo problem. The input is going to be the restaurant name for which we want to do the location lookup along with the CSV file. The output is going to be the XY coordinate values for that particular restaurant. We are going to learn about command line arguments as part of this demo problem. We'll be writing our code within a script file called rlookup.py. Let me switch to my terminal window. I'm going to type in idle3 rlookup.py. If you're on a Mac, type in idle space rlookup.py. Since we'll be using command line arguments, I'll be using a terminal window to run this particular script. I'm going to make sure to use a new terminal window. Do not disturb the terminal window which you used for launching your idle session. I have already opened a new tab here. You can press Command T on your keyboard if you're on a Mac to launch a new terminal tab. If you're on Windows, you can simply open a new PowerShell window altogether. I'm going to copy paste the code snippet from the slide deck for parsing the CSV file. Once I do that, I'm going to call process underscore CSV function by passing restaurants.csv as argument here. Let me save the current version of the file. I'm going to make sure to arrange the terminal and idle editor windows over here. How can I use restaurants.csv as such without providing the absolute path name for that file? That's because both rlookup.py and restaurants.csv are within the same directory. Please make sure to always use relative paths to your input dataset file names within your project code. Let me capture the return value from this particular function as a variable called rows here. Sorry, I meant from this particular function call. The rows variable here is going to represent the list of list data structure for that particular CSV. For now, I'm just going to call the print function to display rows. In the terminal window, I'm going to type in python3 rlookup.py to run my script. Observe that we are getting the expected output, which is the list of list representation of the CSV file format. In order to perform the search, I'm going to define a search variable, and for now I'm going to hard code this with a string value of Subway. Eventually we'll be changing this to process command line arguments. Let me iterate over every row within the list of rows here. That's because I want to make sure that we are able to find the search restaurant that we are looking for. So I'm going to say for row in rows. Please make sure to always use meaningful variables. Every iteration of my for loop will retrieve one row. So I'm saying for row in rows here. I'm going to tab indent the print function call and simply change the argument from rows to row. Let's save the program and try to run it. Observe that now we are getting individual restaurant list in a single line, which is going to represent every iteration of this particular for loop. What do we want to look up within this particular list? That's going to be the restaurant name in column 1. Recall that the first item is always going to be at index position 0. So I want rows of 0 here, sorry, row of 0 here, my bad. So let me save the program and run the program again. Observe that we are able to extract just the restaurant name via this for loop here. We want to make sure that we are converting the case of both of the strings here to lower cases or upper cases to make sure that we get proper match. I'm going to start writing my if condition. So I'm going to say if row of 0 dot lower open parenthesis close parenthesis equal to search dot lower open parenthesis close parenthesis. Let me just print row for now. Let's save the program and run it. Observe that the only output that we see is for the Subway restaurant here. We want to be able to just display the X and Y coordinate values for the restaurant that we are doing a lookup, and the format is going to be X equal to some value comma Y equal to some other value. Let's use the format method call as part of the string sequence. So I'm going to say some string dot format, and that's going to be a method call. So I'm using parenthesis here. So let me type in the string as x equal to and then curly braces for the placeholder for x value, and I'm going to say y equal to and curly braces for the placeholder for y value. Within the format method call, I'll have to pass exactly 2 arguments which will go into these placeholders. What are going to be the argument values here? That's going to be the second column and the third column corresponding to the CSV file, correct? You need to use appropriate index. Second column is going to be row of 1. Third column is going to be row of 2. Let me go ahead and save the current version of the program. I'm going to run the program and observe that we are getting the output as x equal to 1, y equal to 0. Let's go back and verify whether that is correct. That seems to be correct. What if we change the restaurant to McDonald's? We are supposed to get 4 and minus 3 here. If I switch back to my idle editor and change the restaurant search variable as McDonald's, we should be able to get that particular output. Looks like we are getting the correct output. Let me show you how you can define command line arguments. You need to work with sys module, which represents system processing functions in Python. So you need to import the sys module by typing in import sys. You have a special list called sys.argv. Let me just for now print sys.argv. I'm going to save the current version of the program. Let me clear the screen so that we can start from scratch. When I execute the program, observe that we are getting a list which just contains the program name. Sys.argv is a special list which enables you to obtain and process command line arguments. Why are we just getting rlookup.py? That's because sys.argv list always contains the name of the program that's going to be at index position 0. We did not pass any command line arguments. How can I fix that? Let's say that I pass McDonald's string as the first command line argument. I'll have to do that by typing that string after rlookup.py here. Now observe that we are getting two values as part of the print function call from line number 14 here. The second value, which is at index position 1, is what we are looking for, correct? So I'm going to go ahead and comment out this particular print function call, and instead of hard coding the search string as McDonald's, I'm simply going to say sys.argv of 1 to make sure that I get the search string from index position 1 here. Let me save the current version of the program. If I try to execute the previous line for executing rlookup.py, observe that we are getting the same output as 4 and -3 here. What if I try to search by passing subway as command line argument here? That's going to give us the original output. Give me just a second to rearrange the windows. Observe that we are getting 1 and 0 here. I'll wrap up this video here. That will be it for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll go through the demo problem 2 for nearest restaurant search. The remaining demo problems are for you to try out on your own time if you're interested. The dataset files for these are available as part of the code link for today's lecture.